The alarms screaming through Valorum Station made Taemin drop his coffee. The hot liquid splashed across his desk, but he didn't care. Those weren't drill alarms. Those were the real thing. He ran to the observation window of his small office. Outside, in the black void of space, he saw something that made his blood turn cold. Ships, dozens of them. Big ones. They appeared from nowhere, dropping out of hyperspace like sharks rising from dark water. All personnel. This is Commander Velthar. The station's intercom crackled. The avian officer's voice was tight with fear. We have hostile contacts. 40+ vessels. They're broadcasting Ravager fleet signatures. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Taemin watched as the station's defense platforms swung their weapons toward the incoming fleet. 8 small patrol ships launched from the docking bays, moving to intercept. It all looked so organized, so controlled. For about 30 seconds, then the Ravagers opened fire. The first salvo of missiles streaked across the darkness like angry red stars. They hit the defense platforms before the platforms could even lock targeting solutions. Explosions bloomed in silence. Metal and fire twisted together in the vacuum. All 6 platforms went dark in less than a minute. The patrol ships tried to fight. Taemin could see them on the tactical display that every office had mounted on the wall. 8 small green dots, trying to hold back 40 red ones. It was like watching ants fight eagles. One by one, the green dots winked out. Commander Velthar's security force died, trying to buy the station time. Time for what? Taemin wondered. There was no cavalry coming. Valorum Station sat on the edge of known space, far from the major shipping lanes. That's why it was valuable for trade. It was also why no one would reach them in time. His communicator buzzed. Taemin, get to the command center. Now. It was Hee Jin, another human, on the station. She worked in engineering, deep in the lower decks where the big machines kept everything running. He ran. The corridors were chaos. Aliens of 12 different species rushed in every direction. Some headed for the emergency shelters. Others grabbed weapons or tried to reach their ships in the docking bays. Children cried. Adults shouted. The station's artificial gravity flickered for a moment, and everyone stumbled. The command center was worse. Screens showed damage reports flooding in faster than anyone could read them. Ambassador Quillix stood in the middle of it all, their crystalline body reflecting the red emergency lights. The Luminar's usual calm was gone, replaced by something that looked like panic. Transmission coming in, someone shouted. It's Warlord Kragoth. The main screen filled with a face that belonged in nightmares. Kragoth was massive, his insectoid features twisted into what might have been a smile. Multiple eyes glittered with cruel intelligence. His mandibles clicked as he spoke. Valorum Station. You know who I am. You know what I do. His voice was like broken glass scraping metal. I give you 12 hours. Surrender or die. Open your docks and let my warriors board. Or I will tear your station apart, piece by piece. I will sell your survivors to the slave markets. Your choice. The screen went black. The command center fell silent. 50,000 people lived on this station. Families, workers, students, traders from across the sector. All of them about to become victims or corpses. Send distress calls, Ambassador Quillix ordered. Their voice shook. All frequencies. Every system, within 10 light years. Already done, Velthar said. The commander had blood on his feathers from where shrapnel had hit him during the first attack. The Kresh Defense Fleet is 8 days away. The Luminar Protectorate is 12 days out. The Coalition has nothing in this sector. What about the human fleets? Taemin asked. Every alien in the room looked at him. Some looks were confused. Others were almost pitying. Humans were new to space. Very new. They'd only had faster-than-light travel for 40 years. To species that had been starfaring for thousands of years, Humans were children playing with toys they barely understood. "The nearest human patrol is 4 days away," Velthar said quietly. "I'm sorry, Taemin. Your people are brave, but they're too far." "Let me send a priority message anyway," Taemin said. "Military channels. Emergency codes." Quillix nodded. "Do it. At this point, we need any help we can get." Taemin ran to a communication terminal. His fingers flew across the controls. He input every human military frequency he knew. He added location data, casualty estimates, enemy force composition, everything that might help. Heijin appeared beside him. Her face was streaked with oil from working in the engine rooms. "Do you really think they'll come? Do you?" "I don't know," Taemin admitted. "But humans have a saying. No one gets left behind. If there's any chance at all, they'll try. They're 4 days away, Taemin." "We have 12 hours. I know." He hit the transmit button. The message burst out into space at faster than light speed, racing toward human territory. It would take hours just to reach the nearest human outpost, more hours for them to respond. Days for any ship to arrive. They didn't have days. They had hours. The station shuddered. Another impact. The Ravagers were testing the shields now, probing for weak points. On the tactical display, their ships formed a perfect sphere around Valorum Station. There was no escape. No way out. 9 hours until they breached the hull, someone reported. Taemin stared at the communication terminal. The light showed his message was away. Speeding through the dark between stars. He thought about his family back on Earth. His sister. His parents. He'd probably never see them again. "Come on," he whispered to the empty void. "Please. Somebody hear us." But space didn't answer. It never did. The stars just kept burning, cold and distant and uncaring. The Ravager fleet tightened its grip around the station like a fist closing around a throat. No help was coming. They were alone. 5 hours left. Bo-Ra's hands were covered in blood. Blue blood, purple blood, red blood. Every species bled a different color, but it all felt the same. Warm. Sticky. Proof that someone was dying. "I need more bandages," she shouted. The medical bay was packed with wounded. The Ravagers hadn't even boarded yet, but people were hurt from the attacks on the defense platforms. Shrapnel, burns, broken bones from when the station's gravity had failed. "And someone get me more plasma for the creche patient. She's losing too much." A young nurse ran to help. Bo-Ra worked fast, her training taking over. She'd been a doctor for 15 years, but she'd never seen anything like this. This wasn't a medical emergency. This was the end. Through the medical bay's window, she could see the Ravager fleet. The ships hung in space like vultures, waiting for something to die. Every few minutes, they fired a shot at the shields, just to remind everyone they were there. The shields held, but they were getting weaker. Much weaker. Her communicator buzzed. It was Taemin. "Any word from the human fleets?" "I'm a doctor, not a communications officer," Bo-Ra said. "And I'm a little busy keeping people alive. Sorry. I just thought maybe you'd heard something." Bo-Ra's hands paused. Taemin sounded desperate. "They all were. No word," she said softly. "But that doesn't mean they're not coming." "Yeah." The line went dead. 4 hours left. In the education sector, Da-Un huddled with 30 other students. Most of them weren't human. They came from all over the galaxy, children of diplomats and traders who lived on Valorum Station. Now they were all trapped together in a classroom, waiting to die. "My mom's on a ship 3 systems away," a young creche girl whispered. Her feathers were trembling. "She's trying to get back. She won't make it in time." Da-Un held the girl's hand. She was only 19 herself, barely more than a child. She'd come to Valorum Station to study alien cultures. She wanted to be a diplomat. She wanted to build bridges between species. Now, She just wanted to survive the next few hours. "Tell me about your mom," Daun said, trying to distract the girl. "What's she like?" The creche girl started talking, her voice shaking. Other students joined in, sharing stories about their families. It helped. A little. But the clock kept counting down. Daun checked her communicator. She'd sent messages to her parents on Earth. Simple messages. "I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you for everything." She didn't know if they'd ever receive them. Even if they did, it would be days after she was already dead. She wiped her eyes. She had to be strong. These younger students needed someone to be strong. 3 hours left. The station's shields flickered and died. The power just wasn't there anymore. Every system was being pushed to its limit, and something had to give. The shields went first. In the command center, alarms screamed again. "Hull integrity at maximum," someone reported. "Life support holding. But we're defenseless now. One good shot, and they'll punch through." Commander Velthar stood at the tactical station. His remaining officers worked around him, but everyone knew it was hopeless. 8 patrol ships dead, 6 defense platforms destroyed, shields gone. They had nothing left to fight with. "We should surrender," Quillix said. The ambassador's crystalline body looked dull in the emergency lighting. "If we fight, everyone dies. If we surrender, maybe some survive." "Kragoth doesn't take prisoners," Velthar said. "He takes slaves, or corpses. You know his reputation." "Then what choice do we have?" Taemin burst into the command center. "Wait. Just wait a little longer." "For what?" Velthar's voice was sharp. "Your human fleets that are days away?" "Taemin, I respect you, but we're out of time. I have 50,000 people on this station. I have to think about them." "Humans don't abandon their own," Taemin said. His voice was desperate. "I know we're new to space. I know we're not as advanced as the other species. But we answer distress calls. We come when people need help. That's what we do. Also, where are they then?" Velthar spread his wings in frustration. "Where are your mighty warriors?" "I see only empty space." Taemin had no answer. He looked at the tactical display. Nothing. Just the Ravager fleet and the dying station. 2 hours left. Heijin worked in the engine room, trying to keep the power flowing. The reactors were running at 110%. They'd blow eventually. But that didn't matter if the Ravagers killed everyone first. Her sensor panel beeped. Something odd. A gravity signature at the edge of the system. Way out past the last planet. She checked the readings twice. "That's weird," she muttered. "What's weird?" another engineer asked. "There's something out there. Big gravity well. But it's distorted. I can't get a clean reading. Probably just another Ravager ship jumping in. They're getting ready for the final attack." Heijin didn't think so. The signature was wrong. Too big. Too strange. But with all the damage and power fluctuations, her sensors could be giving false readings. She marked it for later review and went back to keeping the reactors from exploding. 1 hour left. Kragoth's face appeared on every screen in the station. His mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. 1 hour. Little prey. 1 hour, until my warriors come for you. Surrender now. And I will be merciful. Quick deaths for most. Slavery for the valuable ones. Fight, and I will make you all suffer before you die. In the command center, Quillix looked at Velthar. The decision was clear in the ambassador's eyes. "We have to surrender." "I'm sorry." Velthar nodded slowly. He opened a channel to the Ravager flagship. "Warlord Kragoth. This is Commander Velthar of Valorum Station. Every light on the station went out. Total darkness. The emergency lights failed. The screens died. Even the ever-present hum of the reactors stopped. For 5 heartbeats, Valorum Station was a tomb floating in space. Then power returned. Emergency systems kicked back in. But something was different. Every screen in the command center showed the same thing. Static. No, not static. Something was cutting through the interference. A sound, deep, resonating. It vibrated through the station's hull like a massive bell being struck. Not a weapon. A transmission. Someone was broadcasting on every frequency at once, with enough power to black out the entire station. Then a voice, human, male, cold as vacuum, professional as death. Valorum Station, this is HTSV, Indomitable. Hold your position. We are coming through. The command center erupted. Aliens shouted questions. Velthar demanded sensor reports. Quillix tried to restore order. Taemin just smiled. He'd heard that voice before. Years ago. He knew that voice. Jin Woo, he whispered. You crazy bastard. You actually came. On the tactical display, the gravity signature at the edge of the system suddenly made sense. It wasn't a ship jumping in. It was something jumping out. Out of somewhere that shouldn't exist. Space itself was tearing open, and something was coming through. The Ravager fleet's sensors went crazy. On Kragoth's flagship, officers scrambled to understand what their instruments were telling them. The readings made no sense. Something massive was emerging from a region of space that should have been empty. Not from hyperspace. Not from any known FTL corridor. From somewhere else, entirely. What is that? Kragoth demanded. His multiple eyes focused on the tactical display. Another fleet coming to save them? Kragoth? Unknown, Warlord. The signature is wrong. It's coming from the outer dark, from between the stars. Nothing travels through that region. The gravity wells are too unstable. Ships that go there don't come back. Then what? Space tore open. It wasn't like a normal FTL exit. When ships dropped from hyperspace, they appeared in a flash of light. Clean and simple. This was different. This was violent. Reality itself seemed to scream as something forced its way through from the impossible dark between star systems. The HTSV Indomitable came through like a knife cutting flesh. The ship was enormous. Bigger than Krog Oath's flagship. Bigger than 3 of his flagships put together. It was dark, almost black, covered in scarred armor that looked like it had survived 1,000 battles. Weapon ports lined its hull like the eyes of a spider. It didn't look elegant like Luminar ships or sleek like Kresh vessels. It looked brutal. Functional. Built for one purpose only. War. On the Indomitable's bridge, Captain Jin Woo stood with his hands behind his back. He was a thin man, average height, with graying hair and eyes that had seen too much combat. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency. Tactical assessment, Sang-ho, Jinwoo said calmly. Lieutenant Sang-ho studied his displays. 40 hostile contacts confirmed. Ravager fleet signatures. Station shields are down. Multiple hull breaches in progress. They're cutting through the outer decks. Time until station is compromised? 30 minutes. Maybe less. Casualties? Unknown. But there are 50,000 people on that station, Captain. Jin Woo nodded once. His face showed nothing. No anger, no fear, just cold calculation. Nari, weapons status. Chief Weapons Officer Nari looked up from her console. She was young for her position, only 30, but she was the best shot in the fleet. Her fingers moved across controls like a pianist playing a familiar song. All systems green. Captain. Railguns charged. Missile batteries loaded. Point defense ready. We can fire on your command. Target acquisition. Priority targets are the ships closest to the station. We need to give them room to breathe. Locked, Nari said. Waiting for your mark. Jin Woo watched the tactical display for 3 seconds. He calculated firing angles. Debris. Trajectories. Collateral damage. Possibilities. Every shot had to be perfect. One mistake, and they'd hit the station instead of the enemy. Fire. The Indomitable's railguns spoke. They didn't make sound in the vacuum of space. But if they could have, it would have been thunder. Magnetic accelerators launched tungsten penetrators at a significant fraction of light speed. The rounds crossed the distance to the first Ravager cruiser in less than a second. The cruiser exploded. Not from a missile hit that could be absorbed by shields. This was kinetic energy. Pure physics. The tungsten round punched through the shields like they weren't there, through the armor like paper, and out the other side. The ship's reactor containment failed. The cruiser became a brief new sun before collapsing into twisted metal. 2 more cruisers died in the first salvo. Just gone. Erased from space. On Valorum Station, every screen showed the same impossible sight. A single human warship, outnumbered 40-1, had just killed 3 enemy vessels before the enemy even knew the fight had started. "Sweet merciful stars," Velthar whispered. Taemin was grinning like a madman. "They're humans, Commander. We don't do elegant. We don't do pretty. We do effective. We do effective." The Ravager fleet scrambled to respond. Ships that had been focused on the station now turned to face this new threat. 40 vessels against 1. The math seemed simple, but Kragoth had survived dozens of battles by being smart, not brave. Something about that human ship made his instincts scream warnings. "All ships, target that vessel, concentrate fire, destroy it now." The Ravager fleet opened fire. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward the Indomitable. Energy weapons reached across the void, enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. On the Indomitable, alarms rang. "Incoming fire," Sangho reported. "A lot of incoming fire. Point defense," Jinwoo said. His voice never changed, still calm, still cold. The Indomitable's hull erupted with laser fire. Hundreds of small turrets tracked the incoming missiles with computer precision. The missiles started dying. One by one, then in clusters. Explosions lit up space around the human ship like fireworks, but some got through. They had to. There were too many. Missiles hit the Indomitable's armor and detonated. Energy weapons burned into the hull. Damage reports flooded the bridge. "Hull breaches on decks 7 through 9, someone shouted. "Fire in Engineering Section 3. Starboard armor, compromised. Seal the breaches. Reroute around the damaged sections." That was Yujin, the chief engineer. She was deep in the ship's guts, working miracles to keep everything running. "I can keep us fighting, Captain. Just don't let them hit the reactors." "Understood. Nari, return fire. All weapons." The Indomitable became a storm of destruction. Railguns fired in sequence, each shot precisely calculated. Missiles launched from tubes, streaking toward Ravager vessels. The main cannon, a massive spinal-mounted weapon that ran the length of the ship, charged up. "Main gun ready," Nari said. "Target the destroyer at coordinates 774. Fire." The main gun fired. The Indomitable shuddered from the recoil. A single, massive round, bigger than a bus, crossed space in an eye blink. It hit the Ravager destroyer dead center. The round punched completely through the ship, through the destroyer behind it, and kept going into empty space. Both ships broke apart. Their hulls crumpled like aluminum cans. The Ravager fleet was starting to realize something terrible. This wasn't a warship by their standards. Their warships were fast, elegant, designed for fleet actions against other warships. The human ship was something else. It was a siege platform. A weapons platform. It didn't need to be fast or elegant. It just needed to kill everything in front of it. And it was very, very good at that. Kragoth watched 5 more of his ships die. He'd started with 40. Now he had 32. Against one enemy ship. This was wrong. This was impossible. Humans were supposed to be weak, new to space, easy prey. All ships, converge on that vessel. Ram it if you have to. Just destroy it. The Ravagers changed tactics. Instead of trying to kill the Indomitable from range, they started to close in. If they could get close enough, they could board. Pirates were good at boarding actions. Hand-to-hand combat. That's what they did best. On the Indomitable's bridge, Jinwoo watched them come. He almost smiled. Almost. They're trying to board us, Sangho said. Should we pull back? No, Jinwoo said. Let them come. Bay doors opened along the Indomitable's hull. Small craft poured out. Human fighters. They weren't like the sleek interceptors other species used. They were blocky, ugly, but they were fast and deadly. At the head of the formation, Youngmi checked her weapons. She was 24. The youngest squadron leader in the fleet. She was also the best pilot Jinwoo had ever seen. All wings. This is Youngmi. You know the drill. Make holes in their defenses. Clear the path for torpedoes. Don't try to be heroes. Just do your jobs. The fighters dove into the Ravager formation like sharks into a school of fish. And the real battle began. Youngmi's fighters screamed through space at speeds that would have killed most pilots. The G-forces tried to crush her into her seat, but her suit compensated. Barely. Human pilots flew harder than any other species because human pilots could take more punishment than anyone else. Evolution on a high-gravity world had some advantages. Break formation, she ordered. Attack pattern Delta. Go. Her squadron split apart like a flower opening. Each fighter went for a different Ravager ship. The pirates opened fire with their point defense systems, filling space with weapons fire. 2 human fighters died immediately, blown apart by direct hits. Youngmi didn't slow down. She aimed her fighter directly at a Ravager cruiser's weapon clusters. Her fighter's AI screamed warnings at her. Collision imminent. Pull up. Pull up. She ignored it. At the last possible second, she fired every missile she had and yanked the stick hard. Her fighter spun away, so close to the Ravager hull that she could have counted the rivets. Behind her, 6 missiles impacted exactly where she'd aimed. The cruiser's point defense batteries exploded in a chain reaction. Path clear, she transmitted. Torpedo bombers. You're up. Heavier human fighters moved in, carrying massive torpedoes. With the point defenses down, they had a clear shot. They fired from close range and immediately burned away. The torpedoes hit. The Ravager cruiser's engines died, leaving it drifting and helpless. That's 7 down, Youngmi counted. But the Ravagers were learning. They stopped trying to shoot down individual fighters and instead created walls of weapons fire. Just filled entire sections of space with energy and metal. 3 more human fighters flew into the kill zones and didn't come out. Youngmi's face was grim. She'd started with 20 fighters. Now she had 15. All units. Fall back to the Indomitable. We've done our job. On the Indomitable, Jinwoo watched his fighters return. 5 lost. 5 pilots dead. He memorized their names. He always memorized the names. Later, if there was a later, he'd write letters to their families. But right now, he had a battle to win. Sang-ho, status. 28 Ravager ships remaining. 12 are damaged. But they're closing fast. Boarding range in 2 minutes. Malina? Good. Major Hyunsik, are your Marines ready? In the Indomitable's armory, Major Hyunsik checked his rifle one last time. Around him, 300 Marines did the same. They wore heavy combat armor, black as space, covered in weapon mounts and ammunition. They didn't look like soldiers from other species. They looked like walking tanks. Ready, Captain, Hyunsik said. His voice was deep and calm. He'd been a Marine for 20 years. He'd fought in the border wars, the pirate conflicts, and a dozen smaller actions. He was very good at his job. His job was killing people who needed to be killed. They'll try to board us in 2 minutes. Show them why that's a bad idea. Yes, sir. The first Ravager boarding craft hit the Indomitable's hull like ticks latching onto skin. Cutting torches burned through the armor. Ravager warriors poured through the holes, screaming battle cries. They were big, armed with heavy weapons. Experienced pirates who'd boarded hundreds of ships. They made it exactly 4 meters into the Indomitable before they met Hyun-Sik's Marines. The corridor erupted with gunfire. Human weapons didn't use elegant energy bolts. They used bullets. Lots of bullets. Very fast bullets. The Ravager's armor might stop energy weapons, but kinetic rounds hit differently. They hit hard. The first wave of pirates died in seconds. The second wave tried to take cover and return fire. They died too. The humans didn't take cover. They just advanced, firing constantly, reloading without breaking stride. One Ravager, bigger and meaner than the others, charged directly at Hyun-Sik. The Major waited until the pirate was 3 meters away, then shot him in both knees. The Ravager fell. Hyun-Sik walked past him without stopping, letting another Marine finish the job. Boarding attempt repelled, Hyun-Sik reported. 17 enemy casualties. 0 friendly casualties. They're going to try again. They did. Again and again. Each time, more Ravagers died. Each time, the human Marines held the line. After the 5th attempt, the Ravagers stopped trying to board. They'd lost over 100 warriors and hadn't even made it past the first corridor, but the Indomitable was taking damage. The concentrated fire from 28 enemy ships was too much. Hull breaches multiplied. Systems failed. Entire sections lost power. In engineering, Yujin worked like a demon. Her hands flew across controls, rerouting power, bypassing damaged systems, holding the ship together through will and skill and sheer stubbornness. I need more power to the starboard shields. Jinwoo's voice came through her communicator. I'm giving you everything I have, Captain. The reactor's running at 120%. If I push it harder, we'll blow up. Then push it to 119%. That's not how it works. Make it work, Yujin. We just need to last a little longer. Yujin cursed in 3 languages, but she made it work. She always made it work. That's why Jinwoo had specifically requested her for this mission. She was the best engineer in the fleet, because she understood a simple truth. Sometimes, the laws of physics were more like suggestions. On Valorum Station, everyone watched the battle with a mixture of awe and terror. The human ship was holding its own, but barely. It had killed 12 Ravager vessels, but the remaining 28 were tearing it apart. It was only a matter of time. They're going to die, Velthar said quietly. They came all this way, and they're going to die, trying to save us. Maybe, Taemin said. But they'll take a lot of pirates with them. And they bought us time. Other fleets are coming. The Kresh forces might reach us before the Ravagers can breach the station now. Small comfort to the humans who are dying out there. They knew the risks. They came anyway. That's what humans do. On the Ravager flagship, Kragoth was no longer confident. He'd lost 12 ships. 12. Against 1 enemy vessel. His fleet was still winning. But at this rate, there wouldn't be enough ships left to take the station, even after they destroyed the human warship. And something else bothered him. The human ship wasn't trying to escape. It wasn't calling for help. It was just fighting. Like it knew something he didn't. His sensors officer suddenly went pale. Warlord. I'm detecting another gravity signature. Edge of the system. Same location as the first ship. Kragoth's blood went cold. How many? I can't tell. The readings are scrambled. But it's big. Maybe multiple vessels. Before Kragoth could respond, Jinwoo's voice came through on an open channel. Every ship in the system could hear him. His tone was still cold, still professional. But now there was something else underneath. Something that sounded like satisfaction. Warlord Kragoth. This is your only warning. Withdraw your forces immediately. Leave this system, or I will destroy you. Kragoth laughed. It was a bitter sound. You're dying, human. Your ship is falling apart. Why would I withdraw? Because my orders were to hold until reinforcements arrived, and my reinforcements just came through. Kragoth looked at the tactical display. At the edge of the system, space was tearing open again. Not once, not twice. Multiple tiers, in reality. And through each one, another human warship was emerging. Big ones. 4 of them. All similar to the Indomitable. All covered in weapons. "Oh," Kragoth said quietly. Then, louder. "All ships. Emergency. FTL. Retreat. Retreat now." But Jinwoo wasn't done. "Nari. The flagship. I want it. Gone. Nari. 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 Nari." "Yes, sir." Target locked. The Indomitable, battered and burning, turned its main gun toward Kragoth's ship. The weapon had been charging during the entire battle, drawing power that could have gone to shields or engines. Everything focused on one final shot. Kragoth saw death coming. He had time to feel fear. Just enough time. The main gun fired. The round crossed the distance in less than a heartbeat. It hit the flagship's shields and punched through. Hit the armor and punched through. Hit the ship itself and turned the most feared pirate in the sector into atoms and memories. The remaining Ravager ships didn't wait to see what happened next. They jumped to FTL, running for their lives. In less than 30 seconds, the battle was over. The Indomitable hung in space, surrounded by debris and dead enemy ships. Fires burned in a dozen places on its hull. It looked like it might fall apart at any moment. But it was still there, still fighting, still protecting the station. Jinwoo's voice came through on the station's frequency. "Valorum Station. This is Captain Jinwoo. The cavalry has arrived. Requesting permission to dock for repairs." The docking procedure took 6 hours. The Indomitable was so damaged that the station's automated systems kept rejecting it, thinking it was a derelict instead of a functioning warship. Engineers had to manually override everything just to get the massive ship connected to the main port. Taemin was there when the airlock opened. He hadn't seen Jinwoo in 5 years, not since the border wars ended. The man who stepped through the airlock looked older, more gray in his hair, more lines around his eyes. But his back was straight and his gaze was steady. "Captain," Taemin said formally. Then he gave up on formality and pulled Jinwoo into a brief hug. "You crazy bastard. You actually came." "You called," Jinwoo said simply. "We came. That's how it works." Behind Jinwoo, the crew of the Indomitable filed onto the station. They all looked exhausted. Some were wounded. All of them had the 1,000-yard stare of people who'd just been through hell and survived. But they walked with pride. They'd done their job. Ambassador Quillix waited in the station's council chamber. The crystalline Luminar had requested a meeting with Jinwoo immediately. Commander Velthar was there too, his feathers still stained with blood from the earlier fighting. Jinwoo entered the chamber without ceremony. He was still in his uniform, which was dirty and torn in places. He moved like a man who'd been standing for 30 hours straight, but refused to sit down. Sang-ho and Nari flanked him, looking equally tired. "Captain Jinwoo," Quillix said. The ambassador's voice was strange, like wind chimes mixed with breaking glass. "On behalf of Valorum Station and all its inhabitants, I thank you. You saved 50,000 lives today. Just doing my job, Ambassador." "Your job." Velthar stepped forward. His alien eyes studied Jinwoo intently. "Captain, I need to understand. How did you get here so fast? The nearest human patrol was 4 days away. You arrived in 4 hours." "Don 1. Jinwoo glanced at Sang-ho. The lieutenant pulled up a holographic display showing the local star systems. "We were here," Sang-ho said, pointing to a system 3 jumps away. "When we received the distress call, standard FTL would have taken us 5 days to reach you. We didn't have 5 days. So, how did you arrive in hours?" "We came through the dark." Quillix's body flickered with confusion. "I don't understand. What do you mean? The dark? Jinwoo took over the explanation. The space between star systems. The voids. Every species treats them as barriers. Places you have to go around. Human engineers took a different approach. We asked, what if we could go through them instead? That's impossible, Velthar said. The gravity wells in those regions are chaotic, unpredictable. Ships that try to navigate them are torn apart or lost forever. Usually, yes. The Indomitable has a prototype drive system we call dark space navigation. It's dangerous. We lose about 5% of our ships testing it. But it works. We can cut through the voids, traveling in straight lines while everyone else has to follow the safe FTL routes. Nari added, it's not comfortable. The whole ship shakes. Systems go haywire. Half the crew gets sick. But it cuts travel time by 70 to 80%. That's... Quillix searched for words. That's revolutionary. If this technology spreads, it will change the entire galaxy. Maybe, Jinwoo said. But for now, it's a human advantage. And we use it to answer distress calls. Velthar's feathers ruffled. The weapons. Your weapons are different from anything we've seen. Energy weapons are the standard across the galaxy. They're efficient, clean, precise. Your weapons are brutal. Jinwoo finished. I know. We use kinetic weapons because they're reliable. Energy weapons can be deflected by the right shields, or absorbed by certain armors. A chunk of tungsten traveling at 0.2 light speed doesn't care about shields. It hits, and whatever it hits dies. Simple physics. It's not just the weapons, Velthar continued. It's how you fight. You took damage that would have disabled any of our ships. You kept fighting. Your Marines repelled boarding parties without taking any losses. Your fighters flew suicide runs without hesitation. And your ship was outnumbered 40-1, and you still attacked first. Jinwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Commander, can I ask you a question? What's your homeworld like? I don't see what that has to do with, please, humor me. Velthar sighed. Kresh Prime is beautiful. Low gravity. Warm. Stable climate. My species evolved as pursuit predators. We hunted by chasing prey through open skies. We developed technology early because we're naturally cooperative and intelligent. Jinwoo nodded. Ambassador Quillix? Your world? The Luminar home is a paradise, Quillix said. Rich in minerals. Multiple suns providing constant energy. We evolved from crystalline structures that learned to think. We never knew hunger or violence. We built our civilization on logic and beauty. I see. Let me tell you about Earth. Jinwoo's voice was soft, but everyone in the room leaned in to hear. Earth is a death world. That's what xenobiologists call it. High gravity, extreme weather. Thousands of predators, and humans, weren't the apex predator for most of our evolution. We were prey. For millions of years, things hunted us, ate us, killed us. We survived by being stubborn. We learned to use tools because we didn't have claws. We learned to cooperate because, alone, we died. We learned to fight because everything wanted to kill us. We learned to endure pain because Earth was always hurting us. And when we finally became the apex predator, we didn't stop fighting. We fought each other. For thousands of years, we perfected war. We made it an art form. We built weapons that could destroy our entire planet, and we came very close to using them. Then we went to space. And you know what we found? Space is just another environment trying to kill us. So we adapted. We built ships that could take punishment. We trained warriors who wouldn't quit. We developed tactics based on millions of years of survival instinct. The room was silent. Velthar's feathers were flat against his body. Quillix's crystalline form had dimmed. Are you saying, Quillix asked slowly, That humans are dangerous because your world made you that way? I'm saying we're survivors. We answer distress calls because we know what it's like to be prey, waiting for death. We fight hard because we've always had to fight hard. And we don't quit because quitting meant extinction. Velthar looked at the tactical display, still showing the debris field from the battle. 28 Ravager ships destroyed or disabled. Hundreds of pirates dead, all because of one human warship that refused to die. How many ships like the Indomitable does humanity have? The commander asked. Jinwoo smiled for the first time. It wasn't a nice smile. In the medical bay, Bo-Ra worked on wounded human marines. She'd never treated humans before. Their biology was fascinating. They healed faster than most species. They could endure more pain. They just kept going. You're all crazy, she told Hyunsik as she treated a burn on his arm. You know that, right? Normal species don't charge into enemy fire without flinching. Hyunsik shrugged. We're Marines. It's what we do. Why though? Why risk your lives for a station full of aliens you don't even know? Because someone called for help. That's enough. Bo-Ra finished bandaging his arm. I'm glad you came. So are we, Doctor. So are we. In the education sector, Da-Un met young Mi. The fighter pilot was only a few years older than Da-Un, but she seemed ancient. She'd lost 5 pilots under her command, 5 friends who'd burned in space so that a station full of strangers could live. I'm sorry about your squadron, Da-Un said. Young Mi stared out the window at the stars. They knew the risks. We all did. That's what the oath means. We swear to protect humanity and its allies. Even if it costs us everything. Are all humans like that? The ones who join the military are. We remember our history. We remember what it was like when no one came to help, when communities had to stand alone against darkness. So now we make sure no one stands alone, not if we can help it. 3 days later, the 4 other human warships finished their repairs and prepared to depart. Jinwoo's meeting with the station council was brief. We're leaving, he said. Other fleets are arriving to provide security. You'll be safe. Where will you go? Quillix asked. Back to patrol. Back to the dark. Watching. Listening. Waiting for the next distress call. Captain, Velthar said. What you did here will be remembered. The story is already spreading across the sector. Other species are talking about humanity differently now. With respect. With fear. Jinwoo nodded. Good. Let them talk. Let them spread the word. Maybe it will prevent the next attack. Maybe pirates and raiders will think twice before attacking human settlements or our allies. Is that a threat? No, Commander. It's a promise. This is the new reality. Humanity is here. We're part of this galaxy now. We protect our own, and we protect those who call us friends. Anyone who threatens that will answer to us. The Indomitable detached from the station. The massive warship turned toward the outer system, followed by its sister ships. They moved away from the star, toward the cold dark between systems. Taemin watched from an observation window. Hai Jin stood beside him. They're really going back through the voids? She asked. That's what they do. They patrol the dark spaces, the places no one else goes. They're the Watchers. The Guardians. How many of those ships are out there? I don't know. Dozens, maybe. Maybe more. The military doesn't publicize the dark space fleet. Most humans don't even know it exists. But it does. And they came when we called. They always do. On the edge of the system, the 5 human warships reached the jump coordinates. They didn't activate conventional FTL. Instead, space began to bend around them. Reality twisted. The ships didn't so much leave as fade, slipping sideways into darkness that shouldn't exist. In less than a minute, they were gone, disappeared into the void between stars. On Valorum Station, life slowly returned to normal. Repairs began. Families reunited. Traders returned to business. But everyone remembered. The aliens remembered the moment they'd given up hope, and then heard a human voice promising salvation. They remembered watching a single warship fight 40 enemies without backing down. They remembered humans who traveled through impossible space to answer a cry for help. And across the Andali sector, on 100 pirate stations and raider bases, a new warning spread. It passed from crew to crew, ship to ship, becoming something like a law. Don't touch human settlements. Don't touch their allies. Don't even go near them. Because the humans will come. You won't see them coming. You won't hear them until it's too late. They travel through the dark itself. And when they arrive, they don't negotiate. They don't show mercy. They just fight until you're dead or running. 50,000 souls called for help. One human ship answered. 40 pirate vessels couldn't stop it. Humanity is new to the stars. But they brought their wars with them. They brought their stubbornness. They brought their refusal to quit. So leave them alone. Leave their friends alone. Because somewhere in the dark, human warships are watching. And if you hurt what they protect, they will come roaring from the abyss. And they will end you. The warning spread. Pirates learned. Raiders remembered. And in the darkness between stars, human warships continued their eternal patrol. Watching, waiting, ready to answer the next call for help. Because that's what humans do.